Hi, Kathryn here with Handmade by Circle Art Designs. Well, today on my work table, I'm going to be working on a project from the February Bargain Bead Box. This will be project 6 in February. This is the first project for me for the February Bargain Bead Box. And it does not mean that we're through with January, but I couldn't wait any longer to open this bargain bead box. And oh my goodness, what such beautiful beads are in it. And I can hardly wait to share it with you. So let's get busy and let's turn our eyes to the mat. Well, as I turn my eyes to the mat, I am again greeted by this thankful and blessed mat that my daughter gave me. You know, it's time to start looking for one for March and April. But I really love this thankful and blessed. And I have to tell you, it feels like in my spirit, we have had weeks of gray days. But this morning, the Lord blessed me because I opened my curtains and the sun was out. And it's warm looking out my window. It's the first time I haven't had cold radiating off of me. And I could say the deep freeze of Texas right now. It's still cold outside. I woke up to 14 degrees, which is unusual for us. But my little clicks, and I don't know what you call them. I call them bobbleheads. But over the years, as my children have given me gifts, they're these little things that their heads and arms go click, 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 and they make this wonderful sound. It reminds me of the clock that sat on my mother's bed when I was a little girl. And I have really missed that sound. I know sometimes y'all can hear it whenever I am recording, but I have really missed that sound. What a blessing for the sun to be coming in through that window. And all those little clicks from Christmas, Valentine's, spring, Easter, it doesn't matter. I even got a little dragon. It is amazing. And I am so thankful for it. What has the Lord blessed you with today? I bet there's something amazing you haven't even thought about yet. All right, with that in mind, let's get started. I think I have the mat centered and I am ready to go. All right, starting off today from the February Bargain Bead Box. Aren't those beautiful? They're 8mm crackle agate in a mystic blue. And as I said, they're crackle agate from the February Bargain Bead Box. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love the colors of those beads. They are so pretty. Now, after that, again from the February Bargain Bead Box, these are called faceted crystal triangles in a slate blue. And oh, there he is. Can you see that? It does make little triangles, and the way it catches the light, oh, they are just gorgeous. Now, we had some in November, which I'm also going to use as a contrast in this in this bracelet. But let's get these all gathered up. And so let's go ahead and pull those. And that will be, again, the crystal faceted triangle. Now, these are in light. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce this. Let's see. Okay, the lady who I looked it up to see how it was said, and then the gentleman, she was speaking French, and I don't know what he was speaking, but it's like vitriol, maybe. And it says it is glass used for stained glass windows. So this is a light vitriol, and I think they are gorgeous. So for my own stash, these are figure 8 links. They're connector links. I got these off of Amazon. You can find them under figure 8 or sometimes under peanut links. And that's what I'm going to say when I'm doing this. And this is some 20 gauge wire. This is some wire I'm using up that was given to me by a friend. And then we will be using these little 5mm jump rings. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, and we're also going to need a lobster claw clasp or whatever kind of clasp you like for your bracelets. And I'm going to put an extender because this will be up in the shop. And let's see, I think that's everything that we need. Now that is a pretty palette, isn't it? I love it. So let's start by taking some of this wire, and we're going to cut about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. We're going to need 6 of these. I could use eye pins, but I decided to go ahead and make my own eye pins for these links. So while we're cutting this wire here, so it's not like watching paint dry, I looked and I did not see any of these triangle beads yet out on the Sisters to Bargain Bead Box, the Bead Box Bargain Shop. It may be that they just don't have their extras out yet, but I did find some listed on Amazon. If you Google crystal triangle beads, they have several different colors on there. If you'd like to add some of these to your stash and you didn't get the box, they're awesome. I really love them. And the same goes for the agate. I also did not find any of that, but it could just be that they don't have them up yet. I'm usually so far behind, I never know if they've got them up or don't have them up. But they also have something similar on Amazon if you don't have a bead shop in your own area. Now, our little bead shop, if there's something you need and they know they can get a hold of it, they'll order it for you and you can pick it up in the shop. So if you have a little bead shop in your area, you might want to ask that too. All right, now I'm straightening up my wires and we're going to get them out of the way. You're going to need 6 of them. At least for my size wrist, I'm going to need 6. Actually, it's just a little bit bigger with the extender. So I'm using, for the first one, this is a looper. If you've never used a looper, I really like them. And I'm going to go ahead and on this end, I'm going to use the looper for all of these. You put it across the jaws. I'm not moving it all the way over to the hole. I'm just getting it far enough to go across that A on the first jaw. And then I'm mashing it, making sure it's straight. And I'm going to do all of them at once, and then I'll go back with my straight nose pliers and make sure they're all closed. And there they are. And then we'll use the straight nose pliers. And anytime you use a looper, you want to make sure that you look at it and that it is closed, because the looper is a marvelous thing, and maybe depending on the brand looper you get, it may make your circle completely closed, but that has not been my experience. I got my loopers from Hobby Lobby. I have a 1.25, which we're using for this one, and I also have a 2.25, and they make beautiful little round circles, but they don't always get it closed. So I always check, and I tell you again, I will double check before I finish this necklace, because I do not want them popping off. And I have bifocals. I've had bifocals for years and years, and my bifocals need to be changed, because now I have to put a magnifier across my work thing to see some of these little bitty holes and things I'm working with. And whenever I was doing this bracelet, I had one pop off, and I went, no, I know, I checked that. Well, I pulled out the magnifier and put it over the thing, and I hadn't. All right, to start this off with, I'm using the slate blue of the triangle, then the 8mm round, and another slate blue. Then I'm taking the looper and I am making sure that the bottom will line up with the next loop, holding it tight, mashing down just like we did for the first circle of the eye pin. And then I'm going to take my straight nose pliers and I'm sorry, my hands are already out. I cannot believe that. Come on, Kathryn, take a look. You're right. I know where the little things is, but you are in trouble. So I close that up, and then what I'm doing that you cannot see is I am making sure this is straight. This 20 gauge wire is a beautiful wire to work with, but if you are very hard on it whenever you're working on it. Not so much when it's finished, but when you're working on it, it will bend the little circles, and I didn't want to scar it, so I went ahead and used that nylon plier with it. And once it was closed, I just put it up. Now I'm using the crystal, and I'm putting the crystal triangle on, and next my 8mm and that crackle agate, and then another of the crystal. You could mix your beads, that would give you a pretty look too, but I decided that I was going to have the contrast of two different components. So component 1 has the slate blue in the triangle, and component 2 has the crystal in the triangle for the beads. Here I am, I'm making sure that's closed and straightened and making sure that they're in the same plane, and that one's ready. Now for this, I am going to make 2 more of the slate and then 2 more of the crystal to give me a total of 6 beads. So I went ahead and pulled the slate triangle, and then I'm going to put on the 8mm in that agate and another slate triangle. Now the thing about these slate triangles that I found out is that you really want to make sure you get the same point going. You don't want part of your slate triangle to have the bottom of it on the up against the bead, and the next one to have the point up against the round bead. So kind of keep an eye on what you're doing. So there we have the 3 for that one. And then we're going to go ahead and do another one in the crystal. And then I tried to mix my beads up so I would have color, because this agate, it is a dyed and heat treated agate to get the color and the crackle and that beautiful shine on them. And it just comes out different. The dye takes differently on each bead. But that's what you have enough. This is what I want to say. You have enough that you can match it if you want to match it. If you got these from the Bargain Bead Box for February. But if you didn't, what I saw on Amazon had a pretty consistent look to most of them, just like these do. But I like the variation. I like having the different blues. So now I'm going to go ahead and loop all of these, and there they are, and we are ready for the next step. Now I titled this Making a Chain Without Using Chain, because usually I put my beads on a chain, or I add them to chains so that it makes a circle around my wrist. But today we're using these lovely little peanuts. Let me see if I can get you a close-up of this peanut. Several years ago, I saw a lady that put a necklace together, and she used these little peanuts on these giant frames and made this necklace. And that's what she called them, a peanut. So that's what I call them, a peanut. And it kind of looks like a peanut. They're mostly called, I have discovered since then, an 8, the number 8 link. And I think they're just so cool. I got mine off of Amazon, as I said, and they came in a little box that had, bronze and copper and silver and gold. And so I have been using them ever since. I got a lot in that box. Okay, now we can move on. So we're going to take one of the little peanut connector links, and we're going to take one of our components. It doesn't matter if you start with component 1 or 2, and we just put it right in the little open circle. Take your chain nose pliers, I'm using my round nose, and just give it a gentle push. Make sure that it is closed. If it's not closed, push it again, because you want to make sure they're closed, and sometimes they're kind of deceiving, and it'll jump right off when you least expect it. Then I'm going to take a component this is component 2, so I use component 1. Then I'm going to go ahead again and give a little gentle mash onto that. Now, the one thing you want to do when you're putting this necklace together is you want to make sure that each time your component, oh, I didn't get it quite closed, your component is facing the same direction on the chain, because it looks very different from the side. Whenever you look at it as a chain, your little components are going to turn around. See there? Now it's closed. But it looks like a figure 8 from the side, but one side looks kind of like an extended M, and the other side has the little place where you closed it. So again, the trick to this is making sure you close it. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take these and there you go. I'm going to take these and I'm going to go ahead and put another of the peanuts on there on one end. I'm going to close it up, make sure it's closed. And then I'm going to put another one of the components on. And so this is what did I do, Kathryn? Oh, there it is. Okay. And then I'm going to close it up on that end. And then I'm going to continue component 1, component 2, component 1, component 2, closing this up until I get about 7 inches in length. I can tell you mine runs a little more than 2 inches for each one of these components and the link. So 2 components and a link for me run about 2 inches, but don't take that as gospel. Make sure you check yours individually. And I'm going back and I'm just making sure all of these are closed. I'm kind of very sensitive about the fact that they might not be closed, but I'll see you when I get to the other side. And we're back. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these 24 gauge head pins and we're going to wrap some of those little triangles. Decide if you want the bottom of the triangle facing the top or the point of the triangle. It matters which way you put the bead on. Now for the first thing I'm showing you, I'm going to put 1 charm bead between each of those peanut links. So I've decided which direction I want it. I've put it on, and now we're going to wrap the bead. And I want to put some pictures in here for you. So taking your straight nose pliers, you're going to put the very tips of those straight nose pliers as close to your bead as possible. And then you're going to bend the wire away from you across your straight nose pliers. So now that you have your wire turned away from you and it is caught between the two, the pliers, you're going to take the piece that you have bent away from you and you're going to bend that over the top and all the way down to where it is flat against the two prongs of your pliers, with the wire now next to you. So you've held it against the bead. And that bead's been through the 2 prongs of your pliers. You've bent that wire so that it's through the 2 prongs of the pliers and the bead is down flat. Then you've taken the wire and you've moved it over the top and all the way down to now the wire is on the 2 prongs that are on your side. And this is going to make an open loop. Now to finish that loop, what you're going to do is you're going to adjust the pliers, turn your wrist or move it in your wrist so that where you're holding it has moved from the top of the prong to the bottom. So you haven't really moved the wire, you've just twisted your straight nose pliers, and you see it here, it is now on the bottom. When you do that, Now then you can take your wire and again bend it or pull it away from you, and that will make your loop. Now all we have to do is wrap it. So with the loop still on that bottom prong of your pliers, I want you to go ahead and the 24 gauge is not very strong. Sometimes I have to use the pliers, but it's because I have issues. And so go ahead and just wrap that around at least 3 times around the wire coming out of the top of the bead. And when you get that finished, we'll clip it. We'll tuck the little wire into where you've wrapped it, and you will have a wrapped bead. So now let's see it played out. All right, I'm bending the wire away from myself, although you couldn't tell. And now I put that before I showed the pictures. Then I moved the wire over. Now I have to take it out and move it because I'm a lefty, but I have bend it all the way down. Now I'm bending it to the back to make the loop, and then I am just wrapping it with my fingers. And you know, I'm going to do a lot of these in the end, so I will probably start using some help here. But for this one, I'm just bending it with my fingers. When I've got it around 3 times, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, I'm using help because I didn't get it quite through that 3rd bend, but I have it now. And then I'm going to take my flush cutters. I'm going to put the back side right up against the wire that I don't want cut. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to take these round nose pliers, and then I'm going to go ahead and tuck that wire in, and we have got one loop. And I do that with the 24 gauge. First of all, the 24 gauge sometimes is all that will fit in some of these beads. This one could have probably taken a bigger gauge wire. In fact, I know it can because I use the 20 gauge on it. But I wanted to do a wrapped bead, and I knew what my hands could do. So let's do this again. We're going to put on our bead, whatever bead you're using. We're going to take it with the straight nose pliers. We're going to bend it away from us. Oop, I got a little carried away. Then once I get it bent away from us, let's try that one more time. All right, then I'm going to bend it over the top. Then I'm going to push it all the way down. I'm going to turn this to where it's on the back, or reposition it for me. And then I'm going to pull the wire to the back so it finishes the loop. And then I'm going to wrap it around 3 times. And let's see, did I get it? I did. And so then I'm going to put the flush cutters right up against the part I don't want cut. And then I cut it. I'm going to take my curved nose pliers. And then I'm going to tuck that in. And we've got another one. Now we need 6 for this first thing. So I thought I would do it one more time with you, and then I will finish these up and I'll meet you on the other side. Push it to the back just like that. Turn the pliers so it's at the bottom. Push it around the top just like that. Now turn them again to get on the bottom side. I put us on the bottom too quickly. Then we're going to pull it to the back so it finishes up that loop, and then we're going to wrap it around. And it doesn't matter whether you wrap it to the front or to the back, as long as you're comfortable with where it's going. I'm taking these little babies right here, and I'm going to go ahead and finish that up because I pulled a different, I don't know how I got a shorter one, but I did. So that's finished up, and I'm just not happy with it yet. Once I get that finished, to my satisfaction, I'm going to take the chain nose pliers, put the back up against the wire so you don't cut it, and just cut the little piece sticking off, just like that. And that one I felt, and it didn't need to be tucked. And I will see you in a moment. Ooh, that moment was faster than I thought. Okay, so this is how I'm going to put the beads on between those peanut links. Now I'm going to use jump rings. I'm going to use the 4 or 5 millimeter. I think I decided to go ahead and go with the 5 millimeter. I did. And this, for a simpler look in the bracelet, you don't have to put anything on it. It is beautiful just the way it is. You put on your ends and you're done. But I like a little movement. If you've known me for very long, I like a little movement. And so I wanted to show you a simple way to get movement in it. Not simpler. It's simpler than what I'm going to finish with, but it's a simpler one. I've opened my jump ring with a twist of the wrist. Now I am not going into the figure 8. I am laying this on top or over the figure 8. So it's just going to lay on it just like it would a chain. You don't always have to put it in a link. So my first one, because I thought, oh, if I only do one, then, and I don't put it in a link, it will be able to move back and forth, kind of like the necklaces that I do. And I want you to tell you, you see how much this is jumping? And I just was so persistent with this, and I could not figure out what was wrong with it. So I've changed to the curved nose. I'm picking these chain nose pliers up. I picked up my wrong pliers. These are the pliers that there's no teeth in them. They're smooth on the inside that I use when I'm using plated jump rings and things like that. And I thought, what is wrong with this? But do you see how that was just moving? I'm sorry, my hand's pulled out, but I'll have other ways. I'll have plenty to show you. So what I'm doing again, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, nope, I have moved. There it is. So what it does, it just sits on top of that peanut. I am not putting it in a link. The triangle beads on either side will stop it, and I have not figured out that I am using the wrong jump rings yet, but it opens up fine. It's when you close it. I'm going now for the next segment. I'm going to change to the crystal. I started with the slate blue. Now I'm putting on that crystal triangle, and I'm putting it right in the middle. I know my big old hand is in the way. Let's see if I show it to you or try to show it to you. Yes, right there. So I've just laid it on there, and this is going to have the same issue with the jumping. I am so sorry. But once it gets closed and you just rock it, it doesn't hurt the jump ring because I'm not yanking it. Once it does that, then I close it up, and again, it will slide up and down on that figure 8 or the little peanut link. And I'm going to put these all the way across, going slate blue, crystal. Ha! This is where I went. I had my wrong chain nose pliers, and it gets better. Maybe I'll just leave this one little one in so you can tell I really do know how to open a jump ring. Holding it between 2 chain nose pliers, 1 twist of the wrist on one side. Don't twist it on both, just one. Put in your component, which are the little slate blue this time. Lay it right on top of that peanut and close it up just like that. See, it has to have teeth for these particular jump rings. They're real stiff and they have to have teeth. I cannot make them close without it. But you have to be careful when you do that so you don't scratch your jump ring. And so now I'm going to leave you and I'm going to finish this up, and I'll see you in a moment. So we're back. I have finished this and we are ready with jump ring, and these are using our open jump rings. They came with my, see, it's already open. They came with my clasp and my extenders. So I'm going to hold it with the one with the teeth. I'm going to take the end of this piece. I'm going to slip this jump ring onto the wire guard. No, I'm sorry, not wire guard. Onto the end of the component. put on my extender, and then I'm going to hold it between two of the chain nose pliers, simple twist of one side, make sure it is not rough. As I say, if it's rough, it's not really closed. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I love these already open. The only thing I don't like is sometimes in the being already open, they got slightly warped. So you have to be very careful with these jump rings to make sure they're not sliding under or on top of each other or one side from the other. And this piece is ready to be worn just like it is. Look at that motion. I'm going to go ahead and open up this and let's lay it down so you can see it. Now that looks so pretty on the wrist. I just love it. But if you know me, I love lots of motion. And so if you're making this project for yourself and you're using these peanuts, you don't have to put anything on. But if you'll notice, I'm putting all these little beads out because I went, oh yes, we're going to do this. So what I'm going to do is I've got a pile of them here that I've already made, and I'm going to show you what I did to put 3 beads on each of the little peanuts. Now I did not want these little beads to slide around. I didn't want them to bunch up on one side of the bead or the other. You can put them on just exactly like we did the first beads. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same size jump rings, and I'm going to put 3 of the slate, 3 of the crystal, 3 of the slate, 3 of the crystal. So that's a lot of wrapping. But you know what? If you decide to do this, by the time you get this wrapped, you will have wrapping beads down pat. All right, so with a jump ring, these are not open. Those are the ones I have to have grips to get closed. I'm going to put on one of the crystal because that's where I'm starting. And I'm sorry it's off. Come on, Kathryn. There it is. And I have put that right through the one side of the peanut. Closed it up, and then I'm going to put another one of the same color on. So I'm opening up the jump ring. I'm going to put it on the peanut that we haven't used yet, the circle and the peanut, making sure that our original one that floated on top of the peanut is in the middle. I'm going to put the component on, and I'm going to close this up, making sure that it is really, really closed. All right, let's see a picture. So as you can see in this, you have a jump ring and a peanut on one side. Then you have the original that's floating on top of the peanut. And then you have a jump ring and a peanut on the other side. So those are the 3. And we're going to do that all the way across. And I will see you when we get this finished. Now, isn't that beautiful? I just love that. It's so pretty. In fact, I love it plain. I could see you wearing it plain. I love it with the singles between the peanuts. But my heart is really where you have the triplets between the beads on those peanuts. Now I've made an extra little charm, and I'm just going to finish out that extender back there with the charm, and this bracelet will be ready to go up in our shop. Oh, and speaking of shop, I plan on having a jewelry drop in our shop tomorrow evening. I have set the time aside to finish up editing my pictures because I got to get them all in one place, and I'll get them up with the descriptions, and I will put a short out and I'll put it up on the community board when the pieces we have done recently are up in the shop. Now, isn't that lovely? I just love that. That's so pretty. It's gorgeous. My daughter came through and said, "Oh, Mom, you make such beautiful jewelry." And I thought, well, you have a whole drawer full of it. So you must love it. But It is. Isn't that pretty? I just love the way it moves. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I have a little Leo kiss on my arm. His little claw just cut right up on me whenever we were playing. I told her, you need to get this dog's nails cut. And here is some pictures. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I had such a good time. I like talking, and I am so appreciative that you share part of your day with me. And I hope this gives you wonderful ideas of your own about making something spectacular for yourself. And as I said, if you see something you like and you would like to add something that I have made to your collection, it will be up in our shop by at least Friday evening at circleartdesigns.net. God bless you, God keep you safe, and may you have an amazing beading adventure of your own. Kathryn, Handmade by Circle Art Designs. Bye, y'all.